Hello again, my name is Dr. Bill Johnson. I'd like to invite you to stay with us and join with us on another edition of Exploring Our Schools. Today is a real treat for me, and I hope for everybody that is watching. We're going to have an opportunity to share the experiences of our fifth grade children at Hewitt School, who just returned last week from a trip up to Ashokan. So I have with me some very, very special people. Fifth grade teacher who accompanied the kids up to Ashokan, and she survived it, and she's still here with a smile on her face. Kathy Glass, thank you very much for being here.
It is my pleasure.
And we have two of the fifth grade students who went. Regan Zellis, thank you, Regan, for joining us today. All right, and Jonathan Muscarella, thank you very much for joining us. We'll get to you in just a minute. What I'd like to do first of all, Kathy, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about the Ashokan experience,
of
and
course.
maybe a little bit about its history. You've done this
Yes.
more than once.
Oh, yes. Yes, I think my first trip was back in 1999 when I first started with the school district. And yes, normally we would go in the spring. We have been there in the early fall, and this year the children had the pleasure of going in November. Ashokan, I think there are usually
A rare November,
a
as a matter
rare
of fact.
November. Yes, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away the surprise.
Okay.
I think usually we have three outcomes when we go to Ashokan, no matter what season we decide to go. The first is, of course, environmental education. That chance to be in the great outdoors, to be on the pristine Ashokan Preserve. For those who may not know, it's located up near New Paltz in the Catskills. The children have so many opportunities to be outside. Most of the trip is outside. It's hiking, it's cider pressing, it's chopping wood, it's blacksmithing. They really get that rare opportunity to enjoy nature. They also see animals. The deer come down in the morning and they drink from the streams. I've seen beaver there, I've seen chipmunks, and I never told you, but I think there are bears, but I've never seen any. So that's one outcome. Another one is the community building.
Yeah.
The staff gets to build their relationships with various students that might not be in their class. And they get to see their students in another light, and their students get to see them in another light. The kids get to community build with each other. They get to know each other. We do a little social engineering before the trip, and we divide the children up into 10 activity groups, and I think 8 meal groups, or vice versa. It's one or the other. We mix up the classes.
So there's lots of planning that goes into
Oh,
this
a
event.
lot of planning, yeah, kind of like the Normandy invasion, but it's worth it because something well-planned always has a good outcome. So they get to really mix it up. They sleep together in the bunkhouse. It's a lot of camaraderie and that commonality of an experience. And then I think the third outcome is that many of our Hewitt parents, and I think many parents throughout the district, had the experience themselves. They were RVC students. They went to Ashokan. They wanted their children to have a similar experience. Now, Regan, can you tell us in your family?
Okay, so my mom, she went to something very similar to Ashokan. She did grow up in Limbrook, so she wasn't in the RVC schools.
Okay, tell us about your dad.
My dad, he grew up in RVC schools, and he did go to Ashokan. He said it was a really great time, and I was really excited. He was telling me all his stories, and it's fun to know that, like, your parents went there and then you went there, so it's kind of like a tradition.
So you did a little comparison between the experience your dad had and what you had? Is
Yeah.
it somewhat similar?
It's somewhat similar, it really is.
Yeah. Did he have a favorite? Did he have something in particular that he remembered?
He really liked just, like, hanging out with his friends on the bunkhouse, anything.
Yeah.
He liked it because it was like you don't hang out with the normal people that you always hang out with. And then you get to meet not meet other people, but you get to hang out with other people too.
Isn't that interesting? That's exactly what you were saying, right? When you talk about a little social
Right.
engineering, it really provides them the opportunity to. It's just not being with one another. There's actually other team activities, right?
Absolutely. Maybe
Yeah,
Jonathan can
Jonathan,
speak
would
to
you,
that.
maybe you could just kind of share with us, were there some of the team building activities that you remember?
Yeah, well, cider pressing, we all work together in most of the activities. So for cider pressing, we all grabbed apples and we were in partners. So one person put the apple into like the barrel, and there was
Right.
like,
Was this a crank that you had to turn?
yeah.
Oh,
And then the
okay.
other person cranked it. And
Yeah.
then
Did you crank it?
we did both.
Oh,
We
okay.
switched off.
You took
Oh, so
turns.
everybody had a little bit of work to do, and
Yeah.
you shared the jobs.
And then also for the homesteading, we went up, like we hiked up like about a mile, and we chopped some wood. And so one person, sometime we at the end, we did like the saw. So there would be one person at the end of each end of the saw, and we would swing it back and forth, and it would make like a little dent in the wood, and we would keep going, until it finally chopped off a piece.
Wow. Very exciting, very different, right? You don't do that any like,
Yeah.
right?
No, we don't do that in Fayette.
Yeah. No, I don't think we do,
No,
right?
No, but lots of teamwork, which is important. And, oh, tell us about when did you have the adventure with the surprise? Where were you?
Oh, so we were blacksmithing, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I went out, and we also had a buddy system. So I went out with my friend Peter, and we were going, and we saw flurries of snow up in the air. We were all so excited. We were screaming that it was snowing. So we finally, and nobody else knew about this. It was just me and Peter. So we came back, and we screamed to everyone, it's snowing, it's snowing. And then they all went outside, because we already knew that it was snowing in Rockville Center, because one of the teachers got pictures. And everybody checked, everybody was so excited, and then 4 hours later, it was like 8 inches, and it was just great.
Yeah, it really came down hard, didn't it? Yeah. Now, that's very rare. Have you ever had snow?
Never.
No, this was a rare experience for you. So you not only lived outside in regular fall weather, but you had an opportunity to live outside in the snow, right? Anything in particular that you remember about being in the snow?
Well, it was amazing because me and Jonathan were in the same activity group. So when he came back, all of us were very excited. My teacher was very excited. So I remember just going outside, and then at night when all of us were going to the activity, we were all playing in the snow on the way there, and it was really fun.
Yeah. Did they have any planned activities for the snow, or was that caught them by surprise also?
Although I think it does snow up there fairly
absolutely,
early.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Life just goes on. You go out in the snow. It's not like being down here on Long Island where we get 2 inches and we say, snow, oh my gosh.
Time to
life
stay
goes
inside.
on. Life goes on and you enjoy it. It's just part of nature. Fabulous. People were dressed for it. Everybody knew to bring warm clothing. So it was fine.
Now, I heard before about your dad said was his famous. What was your favorite activity?
My favorite activity was the apple pressing and making the apple
Oh,
crisp.
really? You really enjoyed that, huh?
Yeah. So
Were you able to taste the cider when it was all done?
yeah, and it was great because it was the day we were leaving, so we couldn't have it at the lunch because usually people get it at the lunch. So we got to get it when it was like warm and the apple crisps were warm, and it was really
Oh, it was really good, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And what about baking the apple crisp? Tell us what you liked about that.
Well, usually when you bake at home, your mom's like all over you, like when like you're doing baking and cooking or whatever, and then there they just kind of let you do it by yourself. They just tell you what to do and they just let you do it.
So, how'd you do?
All of us got a job. I was like pouring the stuff in, so it was kind of fun because it was like my mom wasn't there, like you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah. So you're on your own this time, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's kind of what the trip is about.
Well,
You are kind of on
They
your own.
are on their own. I mean, they're
Yes.
going up, and their parents are not with them.
Right.
Right, they're on their
right.
own.
For
So-
many kids, it's their first time. Have you ever slept away from home?
Yeah. I went to sleepaway camp last summer, and then also, 2 summers ago, and also last summer.
Okay.
Oh, all right. How about you,
So-
Regan?
I slept away from home before, but it's usually like my parents are going away for like a trip and I'm going to like my grandma's or something, and like it was kind of different for me because you're not with a family member.
Right.
Right.
So, what was your favorite activity?
The ropes course. Because there was
Okay.
also a zip
Why do I
line.
think I figured that out before? You got to tell us all about that. What was that?
So it was a few. This also required teamwork, because on the first obstacle, there wasn't any harness. So then you would have like 5 people come over and spot you, and if you fell, they would catch you or like help you just get back
Now,
up.
what is the rope swing? I mean, how, are you up in the air?
Yeah, you climb up in the air. So
Okay.
first the ladder starts off on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
then you climb up, and then there's a few other activities. Like, so one of them is like there's like a rope that you have to hold on to, and there's one wooden plank, and you have to like walk. It was like a thin wooden plank.
A little
so you have to-
scary?
Yeah, a little.
Okay.
I wasn't scared until the zip line because I hate climbing things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so everybody just tells me to climb fences. I hate doing it, and also there was like a very like thin platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I hated doing it, but I knew I was gonna regret it if I didn't do it. So
Good
then
for
I
you.
did it, and then I did the zip line. It was really, really fun.
Wow. So you tried it. Whoa, and he succeeded. That's wonderful.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's part of what
Well,
the
that's
trip
part
is
of what the
about,
whole
too.
experience is about. Right.
Absolutely,
Now, are there
yes.
follow-up activities when you come back?
Well, we're actually in the middle of a writing piece right
Okay.
now. Very simple, Ashokan moment. I don't even think I have fully shared my piece yet. I have a piece because my favorite thing at Ashokan is that first cup of coffee in the morning, all by myself, about 6 o'clock, a little bit of light, you might see a few deer, the coffee's always on. It's a moment. So they are working on their moment, and we're really taking some time with this. We've drafted it out. I think some of us are on maybe our second or third revision.
Oh,
And
really?
we just want to come up with that jewel,
Are
that
you
jewel of a
allowed to tell
moment.
us what your moment is, or is this a surprise for the entire class?
My moment
Yeah.
was when I figured out that it was snowing out, and I told everyone. That was just the best. That was my favorite, like, little moment of the whole trip.
The weatherman of the Ashokan trip. That was you, right? Yes, you gave the news to everybody, right? How about you?
Mine was the campfire because I thought I could use like a lot of descriptive words. Also, it was kind of fun because it was like you got to like sing songs around campfire, and it was just like a good experience, like the first night.
You tell us a little bit about it. I mean, I'm very much aware of what that campfire is, and again, that's all about getting together and sharing the moment.
Absolutely.
Right, so what is it? What do you do?
Well, you sit around the campfire.
That's not inside, is it?
No.
No, it's
like,
cold outside and they have a
it's really
campfire, right?
cold. Yeah. And then all your friends, like, you get to talk to them, and then they make it fun for you. Like, they sing songs, you get to roast marshmallows and have s'mores. It's really fun.
You enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's,
It was
again,
really, really fun, and it was just like a moment of all of us getting together and like having fun. And then after that, we also had the Birds of Prey show, which was also really fun.
That was fun.
And so there was like 5 birds, and they would like the guy would show us them, and then he would talk about them. And then one time, we like flew up to a ledge, and then he put like a mice down, and then the bird swooped down and ate the mice.
Right. You know, we always worry about what people learn in school, right? So is there something in particular that you learned when you went up there to Ashokan that you might not have been able to experience down here?
Yeah,
What
just
was
really
that?
like appreciating nature, cause like there was like a hiking path almost, and like when you look down, there was like just like a big stream of water, and if you went down like a path, there was a huge waterfall that was really just beautiful, and it was just a great experience.
At
with nature.
Homestead, we were hiking up, and then we went across this bridge. There, it's called like the covered bridge because it's covered. And we looked out the window for a little while, and it was really pretty. You saw like the waterfall, but like really close.
Now, did you see any animals up there that you don't usually see down in your backyard?
Actually, not really. I didn't really like. I did some morning activities, but for the morning activities, we didn't really go near like the water, so I didn't see any deer. So I
Maybe
didn't
that
really
deer
see
knew the snow was coming and decided to go elsewhere, right?
yeah,
Huh?
you don't see as many animals as you might in the spring.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Right, and I guess when you go down to the water's edge, a lot of them are either hibernating or gone, right?
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
in the spring, the beaver are actually building a dam on the stream there, but no, they weren't nowhere to be found. The bears were probably hibernating.
They're on their way, right?
Right.
They made no, like he did. I mean, they announced to their friends that snow was coming.
That's
And
right.
off they went. Right. So tell me something else. Did you learn anything about your friends and about what's team building like?
Yeah. You just have to find the right person who you know you can cooperate with and like do well with.
Mm-hmm.
So like just working together, even though it seems simple, you just like really get like a good perspective of it. It's like working together and achieving the goal.
Yeah, that really is one of the more important things to learn, right?
Sure.
Learning to collaborate with one another and understand that when you work together on a project or work together with something, it can be better than if you just do it on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you feel the same way now?
Yes, it was fun because in your activity groups you don't know who you're gonna be with. You don't know what friends are gonna be in your group or. So I wouldn't usually there's some people in my group I don't usually hang out with because they're in different classes and everything like that. So it's fun for the whole 5th grade to get together to be together.
That's wonderful, yeah. So you do get to know and experience people differently than you would in school. That's wonderful, and that's really what we try to accomplish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Definitely.
we only have about a minute left, so we always try to ask at the end of the show, would you recommend Ashokan to other people in 5th grade?
Yes.
Yeah?
Definitely.
And why would that be?
Because it's just a great experience. I mean, you can hang out with your friends, appreciate nature, and do fun activities. It's just better than staying in school and just staying home.
Yeah. Now, when you grow up, do you think you'll tell your daughter about this
Definitely.
and share notes?
I definitely will. We got little diaries. I can give that to her. I think everybody should go to Ashokan. And it's sometimes scary for people who never been away from home. But when you're with your friends and then you're having so much fun activities, you forget about it.
Isn't that nice, right? So you'd recommend it also, yeah?
Yeah.
That everybody go, right? Well, we really believe in the opportunity for our 5th graders to experience this. Every one of our schools go. Some in the fall, some in the spring. So
Right.
it's always
Yeah.
a unique experience.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful.
Any closing
wonderful,
recommendations from?
Wonderful experience. And the children do talk about it all year long. It comes up in the yearbook. They write about it. I hear them speak to each other about it because, again, it's that commonality of experience. You have something that you've done together as a group that nobody else has done. It's you. It's
Yep.
that group. It's that moment in time. And
Yep.
it's a memory that I think lasts forever. Probably one of our, I would say as a Rockville Center student, probably a high point.
So many people that I know who are adults having their children go through our system right now still talk about the experience that they had, isn't it?
Yes.
It is amazing, so. All right, on that note, I've got to close, so thank you all very much for coming today. This was really terrific. And
Thank
I
you,
would like
Dr.
to thank
Johnson.
you.
Thank you.
You know, Ashokan is such a wonderful opportunity and experience for our kids, not just for the idea that they were able to experience nature in somewhat of a different way than we do here on Long Island, but at the same time to experience one another very differently. So I hope we've had an opportunity to share that with you and that experience, and you get a feel for what Ashokan is like for our kids. And thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye now.